Our country has lost all sight of its values on which it was established. A lawless nation of laws. I've never in my life witnessed such an atrocity, yet it serves as a daily reminder that our freedom never truly comes free. It comes at a price. We never plan to fail. Rather, we fail to plan. And that is what truly holds each and every one of us back from our true potential. Be thankful for each and every opportunity that you have and make the most of it. Be unwavering in your commitment, even if others don't agree with you. Be certain and dedicate fully, refusing to give up and back down, and most certainly in your convictions when it comes to your perceived values of right and wrong in the face of true evil. The times truly testing of your faith are here. How will your legacy reflect on you and future generations that hinge on the decisions you make right now? Now is the time to take a stand for your freedoms of tomorrow, Patriots. It's a decision you're gonna have to make. This whole ordeal has been the biggest nightmare I can't wake up from. I knew it would be the biggest challenge of my life, but this has been absolute hell. Nobody seems to take a damn thing serious. The government agencies who know they're in the wrong continuously make a mockery of everything because nobody seems to hold them accountable, which in turn makes the issue at heart grow larger than life. The influence of the media seems to be a make or break on everything in today's society. I've been every bit but silent on everything. I've resonated to a point of losing my voice, and it's like the mute button has been hit the entire time. It's like a story building within a story, which undoubtedly will lead to complete devastation. Not just for me, but for everybody. I've documented, journalized, reported relentlessly, thrown myself into the middle of a viper pit, because that's the only avenue I saw that could possibly produce a positive outcome and remedy the horrible things and horrible people that have destroyed my life and caused society to drift so far off track as it's been headed over the past decade. I made the conscious decision that I'd rather fall as a martyr to a worthy and noble cause than to ever surrender, accepting defeat. That is the primary reason I started Outlawed Productions and Writing with the Outlaw. The whole reason I've been openly documenting my journey and discoveries the way I have is to actually show the world who the true criminals are. Those set on total destruction and devastation to our way of life, to our Constitution, especially the ones in positions of power and authority that rule on their feelings instead of ruling equivocally and by established law. Those susceptible to influence, and of course the immoral and unethical influencers that have used their power, money, and other means to absolutely destroy lives for their own personal gain. The ones that destroyed my life for their own personal gain. To show how low these low-life thugs hit, which is far lower than I even imagined when I tossed care and all inkling of fear to the side and said enough is enough. Hitting low is one thing, but hitting below the belt through a flagrant abuse of an unbelievably tainted legal and judicial system and steadily using that as a weapon of choice is a full-blown declaration of war on American soil by the very definition of a domestic enemy, a domestic terrorist, through acts of insurrection. This is exactly what our founding fathers warned us about. This is exactly what they had enough knowledge to foresee in the future. That is why they crafted the Constitution the way they did. That's why everything is laid out the way it is in the Declaration of Independence. I believe the preamble says it best in saying that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. They are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
here. I'm trying.
Hey.
So we've given you everything that is allowed under a public records request, which are incident reports, and that's what you've been given.
So the conversation that I had with Mr. O'Donnell yesterday at 4 o'clock, where he said that he was sending
from right behind you?
this, I guess, it's already bad enough that they're not producing the recorded phone call, which
Well, first of all,
I don't believe
no recorded
I don't
phone.
believe that for a second.
Okay.
I don't.
I mean, if I call one of the detectives right now on their phone, they're not recording.
They're crooked and corrupt as they can be.
Okay, well, that's all. I've given you everything under a public records
I
request
understand.
that I'm allowed to give you.
Well, I guarantee a phone log, a call log, which I guarantee they have that, which, it wouldn't be hard, which that'll, I'll subpoena, I'll end up subpoenaing that, nothing else. But it won't be hard to show what phone number came into the sheriff's department at whatever time Jared Bundrant received that call. So whether there's a recording or not, they're still identifying information. The county can lie and gaff it off all day if they want to. But at the end of the day, it's not going to change the fact that they're not going to be able to alter a call log, phone log. And that's where they find themselves. They're obstructing. It's sickening because they know that they framed it. They know that this is a political quid pro quo. What?
I don't know anything about all that. All I know is what I've been told
I cannot.
I don't have a phone call to give you. I've given you everything under the public records request we're allowed to give you.
I just talked to the county attorney yesterday.
I just hung up the phone with the county attorney.
And what did he say?
We've given him everything under the public records request that we're allowed to give.
He told me he was about to look over it, but was going to send it over to you to get to me within the next 30 minutes to an hour. And now it's like, if it was not the Tannehills, the county wouldn't be trying this hard to keep that person masked. They wouldn't do it for anybody else. Guarantee you.
I don't know anything about who was involved with anything. I'm just telling you about the public records request and what we've given you and what I'm allowed to.
This is a joke.
I've not been given anything else to even discuss with you about it. I don't know what any other documents might be that would not be considered incident reports that they can't give or what.
Have you ever heard of trickle-down corruption? Yeah. And that's the problem that this city and county finds itself in. There are most of the officers at the sheriff's department, great people, great officers. The problem is the corrupt leadership. Everybody's got somebody above them that's twisting their wrist.
I apologize.
You probably got somebody twisting your wrist. You may want to do the right thing, but somebody's twisting your wrist. And that's what's unfortunate is it pins people in an awkward position.
Thank you. That's all I know to tell you. So I'm sorry.
This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. Well, I'm holding a press conference.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, I sent it to Lisa. She requested I send it to her.
Okay, you can't just let me know?
No.
Really?
I don't see anything on the name you have on this paper.
What do you mean?
Nothing comes up for that name.
For Lyndon Mosley. It was the aggravated stalking charge back, he was issued bond on November 19th.
Well, I just looked at the request you sent and there was no record found.
Oh my God. Okay, it may have been off by a letter, but it's Lyndon Mosley. I said the aggravated stalking charge.
Well, check with her and see. That's all I know.
Do
okay,
what?
Bye-bye.
Alan Wilburn, I need a response from you. Why are you a coward? Why are you a coward? Why are y'all cowards? Why are y'all cowards? I'm saying I would like to, I'm trying to ask you.
I said no to an interview.
You said no to,
Now back away from my truck.
you do realize you're a public servant, right? Jared Bundrant. Hey, I'm here to show you how to conduct a proper investigation. I would like to, do you have a minute?
No, I don't.
You don't? You received a call on May 24th, 2017. I would like the details of that call. Jared, I put in a public records request. Why are y'all not complying with the public records request? I've actually welcomed the U.S. Attorney's Office to join in.
401.
Yeah.
Give me a correct address.
Yeah.
It's not in Calhoun.
No, I mean I've got multiple mailing addresses. That's one of them.
Where you live, where you lay your head is the address we need.
Yeah. P.O. Box
That
1360.
ain't where you don't lay your head at the P.O. box. You lay your head at a house. So if you live in Calhoun County, give me your address where you live.
I mean that's been the address that I've been given.
Where do you live?
Plead the fifth.
So it's not the 117?
Because my ex, Liz Crowder, has been trying to get that information. That's the whole reason the Justice Court stuff and the Chancery Court stuff exists. Y'all know that very well. And me giving up my address means her getting my address, which means that I then get attacked by false allegations. She's already accused me of rape. I have very good legitimate reason to not disclose my actual.
I don't give Liz Crowder any information.
So if there's a law that says that it can't be a mailing address and actually has to be a physical address, and I have to disclose that, then I'd like to see the supportive language.
That's cool, brother. That's fine.
But right now I'm outside of Terry stop time.
You roll your
Time stipulations.
Go on and leave.
Okay.
Hey, you gotta move that.
I'll move when I talk to Joey. Joey knows I'm out here waiting. He needs to come out and talk to me. I'll move when I talk to Joey. When Joey wants to talk to me, I'll move. Otherwise, I'm not breaking any law just for parking in a spot that says reserved for the Sheriff's Department. I'm here at the Sheriff's Department.
Move, or you will go to jail for disorderly.
I'm not being disordered.
Okay.
I'm moving my car. I'm moving my car. I was moving my car. Ah! Hey! Ah!
Matthew Reardon. Mr. Reardon, I'm going to give you a warning one time and one time only. The next time you follow up here, the next time you get anybody on my staff on one time, I'm going to have you arrested and sent to court. But not just come up here. When you call up here, you have to be corrected.
Your Honor, how did I do that?
Be quiet, sir. I hear saying you want to discuss something with me. Let's hear it. What do you want to discuss?
I was simply trying to inquire on the outcome of my ex. She falsely accused me of rape. You've created a monster, Your
Please
Honor.
take him on back. Take him on back this time. Go back, sir. I'm going to hold you in the court. Take him on back.
Your Honor, I was just trying to address this.
All right, son, let's go. Come on. You want to go on your own?
Your Honor, please. My wife is outside. My wife's outside. My wife is outside. This is a witch hunt.
Hey. Hey, Joe.
We got some paper.
What is it?
I'll let you look at it. Find some, so you can see everything. What it is somebody signed a writ on you. Let's bring you implemented treatment.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm dead serious. Like I said, I'll pick you up on it.
No. Like this is ridiculous. Maddie. No.
I get what you're saying.
No,
Like I said,
that's
I'm
ridiculous.
just court order for
I've got a wife and kids. I haven't done a single thing wrong.
This is
Let me read it. Where's the affidavit? Where's the affidavit at?
So, at the request of local law enforcement, then we were engaged by them about the concerning behavior of you at the court. And so, within my role, I filed an affidavit of commitment, which started the process, which is the legal process in the state of Mississippi. And then we followed that process through.
Okay. So, I mean, I figured it'd come from Joe East. I'm not asking you to familiarize yourself with everything that I've had going on. God knows that it's been a tremendous amount. But to actually take somebody such as Joey East, just right there, this word to not look into anything, I think is highly prejudicial. But going into public places and recording people is not a, for one, I'm a credentialed member of the press. Lafayette County multiple times has gotten a copy of my press credentials, so I'm documenting, records were fraudulently changed in circuit court. There's no way that I was delusional and made that up when it's actually truly documented. Were you sent the email that I sent Jerry Madden with the link that actually shows that completely documented?
I don't believe so.
It's unfair to call me delusional when I've gone above and beyond to publish, to produce the proof, and this is why I do that, is so that I'm not called crazy, so that I have evidence backing up what I'm saying. And to be completely honest with you, to call me delusional and to not look at the actual facts and the published proof right there makes me think that the person calling me delusional is delusional. Because you can't, the facts speak for themselves. The evidence speaks for itself. I'm producing a documentary. I've uncovered shocking things. And yes, I'll admit, they are some of the most bizarre, just uncharted, shocking things that it would be so easy to call me crazy. Had I not have had undoubtable, there's indisputable proof of it. The county is trying to cover up what they did back in 2017. It's no surprise. Joey East does not want me around here. But what I'm doing is not illegal. Granted, if I was a county official that had my hands tied in things that didn't really shed the best of light from a legality standpoint, I probably wouldn't want the person around either. But the fact of the matter is, not only am I a private citizen, but I'm a credentialed member of the press. Pressing in a non-threatening way to try to find out where the buck stopped, where the responsibility fell, and the next day, the day after, I get hauled in on a judicial commitment right in front of my own family and taken away for 2.5 weeks. I'm sorry. That is dangerous, and it chills the constitutional rights of other citizens. Boy, do I have a filing, one that'll really put everything in perspective. The culmination of all my work over the past couple of years. And what it is, it's an affidavit, declaration of truth, and a declaration of crime.
to declare the actions of Lafayette County unconstitutional, in particular, the actions of the Lafayette County Sheriff Joey East. I, Matthew Oliver Reardon, the undersigned, make this affidavit/declaration of truth of my own free will, and I hereby affirm, declare, and swear, under my oath and under the pains and penalties of perjury, under the laws of the United States of America and of the state of Mississippi, that I am of legal age, and I hereby attest that the statements, averments, and information contained in this affidavit/declaration are true and correct to the best of my knowledge. This affidavit, declaration of truth, is a lawful notification to you and is hereby made and sent to you pursuant to the federal Constitution, specifically the Bill of Rights, Amendments 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, and 14. This affidavit attests to numerous violations of the Bill of Rights detailed in Article 3 of the Mississippi Constitution, and specific sections 11, 12, 13, 14, 17, 23, 24, 25, 26, and 26A. This affidavit, declaration of truth, requires your written rebuttal to me in kind, specific to each and every point of the subject matter stated herein, within 15 days, via your own sworn and notarized affidavit, using true fact, valid law, and evidence supporting your rebuttal to the specific subject matter stated in this affidavit/declaration. You are hereby noticed that your failure to respond, as stipulated, and rebut with particularity anything with which you disagree in this affidavit/declaration is your lawful, legal, and binding tacit agreement and admission to the fact that everything in this affidavit and declaration are true, correct, legal, lawful, and fully binding upon you in any court in America, without your protest or objection and that of those who represent you.
Number 1. Acts committed by you, Joseph East, acting as Sheriff of Lafayette County, Mississippi, either support and uphold the Constitution, national and state, or oppose and violate them. Number 2. You have taken an oath to support and uphold the national and state constitutions and are constitutionally mandated to abide by that oath in the performance of your official duties. Number 3. You have no constitutional authority or any other form of valid, lawful authority to oppose and violate the very documents to which you swore or affirmed your oath, and under which you were delegated by the people the limited authority to conduct the duties of your office. Number 4. The above 3 positions are true, factual, lawful, and constitutionally ordained. Number 5. Through this affidavit, declaration of truth, you are hereby noticed of your alleged violations of the below-mentioned sections of the Mississippi Constitution, along with supporting facts to corroborate the claims that are being made. You, Joseph B. East, acting as Sheriff, swore an oath to uphold and support the Constitution of the United States of America and of the state of Mississippi. Pursuant to your oath, you are required to abide by that oath in the performance of your official duties. You have no constitutional or other valid authority to defy the constitutions to which you owe your limited authority, delegated to you by and through the people, and to which you swore your oath. Yet by your actions against the people, you have violated those oaths and engaged in myriad instances of incompetence, negligence, dereliction of duty, malfeasance, sedition, insurrection, treason, and criminal, unconstitutional behavior, rendering you unfit to hold public office. However, despite the above stated factual, lawful positions,
Your unconstitutional actions, as described throughout this affidavit, declaration of truth, clearly demonstrate how you have violated all of the above lawful positions, the constitutions, your oath of office, acted against the public good by knowingly and willfully violating the public trust and committing sedition and insurrection. Pursuant to your unlawful, unconstitutional actions, you have invoked the self-executing Sections 3 and 4 of the 14th Amendment to the National Constitution, thereby have lawfully vacated your office and forfeited all benefits thereof, including salary and pension. Please note that as stated above and below, if you fail to specifically rebut, in kind, any of the charges, claims, and positions set forth in this affidavit declaration of truth, then you tacitly admit to them, and these admissions will be lawfully used against you. The following paragraphs and others throughout this affidavit declaration of truth describe some of your unlawful, unconstitutional actions which have harmed myself and others. Based upon a report created on May 30th, 2017, it was stated that on May 24th, 2017, Jared Bundren, an investigator with Lafayette County Sheriff's Department, received a phone call stating that I, Matthew Reardon, was making threats towards an individual by the name of Todd Lynch. Affiant has effortlessly made the claim that this entire fiasco amounted to a crime alleged that was never truly committed in order to suppress and prevent an outspoken conservative Second Amendment activist from speaking at a public forum which he was slotted in advance to speak at on June 6, 2017. That day just so happened to be Election Day for Robin Tannehill, completely violating the constitutional rights of another by way of a knowingly false charge which led to false imprisonment was not enough for Lafayette County officials, as they deprived nearly all procedural due process rights which all accused are to be afforded in order to contrive a conviction stemming from intimidation and fear, not facts and evidence. Affiant was held illegally confined in the Lafayette County Detention Center from the time of his arrest, May 26, 2017, until we received an initial bond hearing on May 30, 2017. This amounted to nearly 96 hours before Affiant was brought before a judge, twice the maximum length allowable under the Mississippi Rules of Criminal Procedure, which had recently been updated prior to Affiant's arrest and incarceration to follow. MRCP Rule 5.1b3 states if a person is taken into custody, that person shall be taken without unnecessary delay, in no event later than 48 hours after his arrest, before a judge who shall proceed with an initial appearance. If the person arrested is not taken before a judge within 48 hours, the person detained shall be released on execution of an appearance bond in the minimum amount set pursuant to Rule 8 and directed to appear at a specified time and place. B. Affiant tried to assert his complete innocence through a bill of sale proving not only that it was an impossibility for him to have committed the crime charged, but that in fact no crime was ever committed. Judge Carolyn Bell cut Affiant off from speaking on two separate occasions, stating he had the right to remain silent just prior to setting a completely outrageous appearance bond. C. Judge Bell never cared to advise me that I had the right to a preliminary hearing. MRCP 8.1 lists a table recently updated approximately a month prior showing ranges for types of crimes. D. A crime receiving a maximum incarceration of 10 years should receive a $5,000 to $50,000 appearance bond. Affiant's alleged crime received a maximum of 5 years incarceration, yet was set at $150,000. Due to it already going well above and beyond 48 hours before affiant was afforded an initial hearing, Judge Bell was obligated to issuing an appearance bond of $5,000 or releasing affiant on his personal recognizance. E. Affiant makes claims of improper influence being the key factor in what had occurred, and that this move had likely been decided upon just prior to the initial hearing commencing. Affiant reasserts his claims of needing to get his daughter out of an ill-brought, fraudulent, and deceptive Chancery Court matter which just so happened to be coincidentally piled on at the same time to further stack the deck. Upon pleading out, following extended mental torture, Lafayette County officials insisted on a banishment being a stipulation in order to get rid of their problem and source of liability for at least the newly elected mayor's first term, including fully disarming him and insisting upon the signing of a covenant to not sue Lafayette County and Oxford employees, officials, sheriff's department, and the Lynches. However, exculpatory evidence of innocence existed all along, and that a preliminary hearing was never afforded. Bond was set disproportionately and unconstitutionally high, in a clear violation of the 8th Amendment of the federal Constitution, as the bond set at $150,000 was 3 times higher than the established guidelines stated, even for an alleged crime that could see twice the potential length of incarceration if found guilty. A motion for habeas corpus seeking bail reduction was filed June 5, 2017, alleging affiant was illegally confined and restrained of liberty in the Lafayette County Detention Center with bail in the amount of $150,000, and that confinement was illegal because bail is excessive, oppressive, and beyond the financial means of affiant or his family and loved ones. This habeas corpus petition placed Lafayette County on notice of violations of the 8th and 14th Amendments to the United States Constitution and 26 and 29 of the Mississippi Constitution at that time. At the bare minimum, this motion commanded that the Sheriff of Lafayette County produce the affiant and show good cause why he should not be discharged from illegal confinement immediately or have his bond reduced to a constitutional amount. The habeas corpus was approved to proceed in forma pauperis on June 7, 2017. However, the approved petition was never proceeded upon, and coincidentally, affiant was never even informed that this petition was filed on his behalf, much less approved. Approximately 2 months after plea was entered, a psychologist in Tupelo, whom was the referring doctor for Lafayette County Chancery Court, notated coercion on his report as the chief reason for such plea. In the following months and years, upon the discovery of additional facts and evidence, Lafayette County, primarily through its most recent sheriff, Joseph East, has refused to provide equal protections under its laws and stands accused of continued intentional deprivation of the affiant's civil rights, and in a continued insistence on covering its tracks and shifting guilt with the help of malicious prosecution and preferential prosecution through the knowing introduction and use of perjurious testimony in order to contrive another highly immoral, unlawful, and unconstitutional conviction. Through a plethora of discovered evidence that has surfaced, it would more than appear that East has had direct involvement in all that's transpired dating back to May of 2017, while under his prior command and title of Chief of Police for Oxford Police Department. Affiant states he had no prior run-ins nor issues with East prior to his return to Oxford in 2020, and that evidence now demonstrates an ill intent and foul play clearly demonstrated by East and directed at the affiant unbeknownst at the time to him. Affiant awaits his guilty plea being declared involuntary due to a complete denial of his procedural due process rights, guaranteed by the United States and state of Mississippi constitutions. Affiant claims this deprivation of rights, due to all accused in combination with the coercion tactics, places Lafayette County and its officials in direct violation of state and federal law, making his plea involuntary and void, and a violation of state law, which the state and county should never have been allowed to be in receipt of in the first place. That on July 7, 2020, Affiant filed his post-conviction relief in Lafayette County Circuit Court, seeking complete reversal of his plea based on stated violations he became aware of. On July 30, 2020, Circuit Court Judge Kelly Luther denied Affiant's motion for relief, which was brought with merit, in good timing, and in the correct court and jurisdiction. Affiant alleges that his post-conviction relief motion was prejudicially denied, with biasness and favorability shown to the respondent as to grounds on which post-conviction relief was brought, along with the alleged fraud conducted by the state and Lafayette County, not only warranted but turned highly prejudicial against the affiant when county officials contrived a fraudulent conviction in 2017 and beyond negligent and in fact injurious upon the affiant when Lafayette County Circuit Court refused to hold an evidentiary hearing or look at any facts stated when constitutional rights violations through complete procedural due process rights were alleged, amounted to even more deprivation, and even what now is alleged as a complete chilling of constitutional rights of all citizens due to complete refusal of equal protections of the law. Up until 8/12/2020, the assigned judge on the post-conviction relief was Judge Ken Smith. However, Judge John Kelly Luther continued showing an interest in affiance matters by way of coming in to deny each motion submitted despite the assignment of case belonging to Ken Smith. Affiant filed a motion for recusal on August 12, 2020, and upon submission of this motion, the official record was altered to then reflect John Kelly Luther as the assigned judge. This was certainly a rather large cause for concern. Between July 2021 and August 2021, I, Matthew Oliver Reardon, had obtained press credentials, further providing official notice that I was a recognized and credentialed reporter, photographer/journalist, as a member in good standing with the Constitution First Amendment Press Association for independent work in journalism and reporting. It was around this time that Lafayette County officials appeared as if their authority had been challenged. However, it begins to become clear that a clear abuse of power by local government officials would be the culprit. A simple, basic understanding and knowledge of our constitutional rights yields the fundamental right to petition the government for redress is, and always has, been inherently vested in and derived from the people. All government or right originates with the people, is founded upon their will only, and is instituted solely for the good of the whole. Furthermore, the people of this state have the inherent, sole, and exclusive right to regulate the internal government and police thereof. This is a guaranteed right of all citizens of the state under Article 3, Section 6, yet another basic right requiring no credentials. On November 4th, 2021, Affiant went to trial for 9 separate charges placed against him by Lafayette County Sheriff's Department and his ex, Phyllis Liz Crowder. 2 of the 9 charges came from a situation resulting in an alleged disorderly conduct and resisting arrest. December 27, 2020, an email was sent to Sheriff East with criminal conspiracy in the subject line, reporting alleged crimes involving the harboring and exploitation of Affiant's firstborn child, LER, which was opened approximately 2 hours later by the sheriff. An investigation and assistance in stopping it was requested, yet no response came from Sheriff East, and this is the sole reason that brought Affiant to the Sheriff's Department, seeking assistance of the Sheriff due to the alleged crimes continuing to be committed. Affiant claims the complaints alleged were ill-brought, retaliatory, and relied upon mob domination and the knowing use and introduction of perjured testimony by Lafayette County Sheriff's Department, in particular Deputies Dixon and Tidwell, and that both perjurious and defamatory statements were given under oath by the Lafayette County Sheriff Joey East. Affiant attests that a sloppy, inconsistent investigation attributed to 3 of the 9 charges alleged by Deputies Beavers and Williford, and that evidence was never properly preserved by the Lafayette County Sheriff's Department for the purposes of trial. On December 3, 2021, Affiant filed a cover page in motion seeking complete dismissal of conviction rendered and citing well-cited and established federal and state law supporting his position that his due process rights had again been violated by the county and that the new convictions must be set aside. On December 6, 2021, Affiant had discovered that the assigned judge, Kent Smith, had once again been changed in the system to reflect John Kelly Luther. In a non-threatening, non-accusatory way, Affiant simply tried to get an understanding of where or who could be responsible for this important record supposedly randomly assigned via algorithm changing. Circuit Court Clerk Jeff Busby got highly defensive and advised China Sinervo to not answer any of Affiant's questions when Affiant was simply fulfilling his civil duty and petitioning the government for redress of a major grievance. At this time, Busby gets on his cell phone and presumably contacts Sheriff Joey East, who within approximately 5 minutes' time is captured on video pulling up, getting out of his car, and telling Affiant to not go back into circuit court unless he had something to file because he was disturbing their business. The following day, December 7, 2021, East reported to Communicare employee Rachel Alcorn knowingly false and damning statements in order to get Communicare to seek judicial commitment of Affiant based on the lies given. The affidavit is approved and signed off by Judge Lawrence Little, and immediately after, 2 deputies go on the hunt to find and take the Affiant into custody on the newly signed writ. This happened shortly after, as Affiant, his wife, and stepdaughter arrive home and is captured on video. Affiant states the judicial commitment was fraudulent, stemmed from false information reported by the Lafayette County Sheriff's Department, in particular its Sheriff, Joey East, in order to cover up a matter of concern which Affiant was seeking answers to, and that this particularly filed matter in circuit court is a matter of interest to the Lafayette County Sheriff, adding motive behind the highly immoral move involving the communication of lies to Alcorn. This was a dangerous attack on the freedoms and liberties of a private citizen and a member of the press during the commission of constitutionally protected activity. Sheriff Joseph B. East, you are alleged to be in violation of your oath of office, the national and state constitutions, and in clear violation of the following laws and statutes. Number 1, Section 802 of the Patriot Act, which clearly defines a domestic terrorist. 2, Title 4, U.S. Code 101, oath by members of legislatures and officers. 3, 18 U.S. Code 241, conspiracy against rights. 4, 18 U.S. Code 242, deprivation of rights under color of law. 5, 18 U.S. Code 1038, false information and hoaxes. 6, 18 U.S. Code 1001, statements or entries generally. 7, 18 U.S. Code 1503, influencing or injuring officer or juror generally. 8, 18 U.S. Code 1512b, engages in misleading conduct. 9, 18 U.S. Code 2071, concealment, removal, or mutilation generally. 10, 26. U.S. Code 7214. Offenses by officers and employees of the United States. 11. 42. U.S. Code 1983. Civil rights action for deprivation of rights. 12. 42. U.S. Code 1985. Conspiracy to interfere with civil rights. 13. 42. U.S. Code 2000A. Civil Rights Act of 1871. 14. 42. U.S. Code 1986. Action for neglect to prevent. Section 802 of the USA Patriot Act expanded the definition of terrorism to cover domestic, as opposed to international terrorism. A person engages in domestic terrorism if they do an act dangerous to human life that is a violation of the criminal laws of a state and or of the United States, if the act appears to be intended to intimidate, coerce a civilian population, or number 2, influence the policy of a government by intimidation or coercion. Lastly, current policing, fining, arrest, and harassment throughout Lafayette County, Mississippi is in violation of not only the First Amendment, abridging the right of the people to peacefully assemble, but more narrowly, Title 18, U.S. Code 242, deprivation of rights under color of law. Whoever, under color of any law, statute, ordinance, regulation, or custom, willfully subjects any person in any state, territory, commonwealth, possession, or district to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, immunities secured or protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States, or to different punishments, pains, or penalties on account of such person being an alien, or by reason of his color or race than are prescribed for the punishment of citizens, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned for not more than 1 year, or both, if bodily injury results from the acts committed in violation of this section, or if such acts include the use, attempted use, a threatened use of a dangerous weapon, explosives, or fire, title, or imprisoned for not more than 10 years, or both, and if death results from the acts committed in violation of this section, or if such acts includes kidnapping, or an attempt to kidnap, aggravated sexual abuse, or an attempt to commit aggravated sexual abuse, or an attempt to kill, shall be fined under this title, or imprisoned for a term of years or for life, or both, or may be sentenced to death. Due to your unconstitutional actions and draconian measures, as described throughout this affidavit and declaration, you have invoked the referenced sections 3 and 4 of the 14th Amendment. As such, you have lawfully vacated your office and forfeited all benefits thereof, including salary and pension. Lawful notification has been provided to you, stating if you do not rebut the statements, charges, and averments made in this affidavit declaration, then you tacitly agree with and admit to them, pursuant to that lawful notification. If you disagree with anything stated under oath in this affidavit declaration of truth, then rebut to me that with which you disagree, with particularity, within 15 days receipt thereof, by means your own written, notarized affidavit of truth, based on specific, true, relevant fact, and valid law, to support your disagreement, attesting to your rebuttal and supportive positions as valid and lawful under the pains and penalties of perjury, under the laws of the United States of America and the state of Mississippi. An unrebutted affidavit stands as truth and fact before any court. Your failure to respond, as stipulated, is your tacit agreement with and admission to to the fact that everything in this affidavit declaration of truth is true, correct, legal, lawful, and is your irrevocable admission, attesting to this, fully binding upon you in any court of America, without your protest, objection, and that of those who represent you. This affidavit stands as notice of pending litigation. As such, will be forwarded to the Office of the Attorney General to provide such notice of intent. This affidavit and your response or lack thereof will accompany the federal complaint, which will be filed 15 days from today. Affiant further saith not. All rights reserved. Signed, January 3rd, Matthew Oliver Reardon, Affiant Declarant, and the Oxford Outlaw.